We've all felt the specific anxiety of watching peers advance, landing promotions and hitting milestones, while our own lives seem to stand perfectly still. Society typically views an extended period of low achievement as a permanent failure, assuming that if you haven't reached the goal yet, you never will. When a late bloomer finally does achieve something significant, onlookers often dismiss the success. They label it a random stroke of luck or a sudden, unearned break. Viewing delayed success as a series of lucky breaks masks a highly structured, predictable psychological process. Psychology shows that late-in-life success is mathematically common and follows a consistent sequence of developmental stages. This process is driven by psychological accumulation, the compounding of invisible traits, skills, and experience over many years. Visible results stay at zero. Observers think the person is doing nothing because the growth is internal, but this is an active gathering phase. Beneath the surface, the late bloomer compounds technical skills and resilience under the x-axis. The time spent falling behind is the necessary prerequisite for triggering exponential growth later on. Early achievers focus on visible markers like wealth or titles. Late bloomers, however, focus on the acquisition of deep foundational knowledge that takes years to refine. Early success often leads people to quit the moment they lose momentum. Because late bloomers are forced to deal with constant friction for longer, they develop a relentless form of persistence. This persistence transforms mistakes and poor choices from permanent defeats into critical data points. By surviving a high volume of failures, they build an experiential database. This allows them to recognize complex patterns that others miss. These refined patterns translate into superior judgment. They can see the path forward because they've already mapped every possible way to fail. The long flatline phase functions as a necessary laboratory for building this advanced cognitive toolkit. Social comparison acts as a psychological trap. Comparing your progress to others creates a sense of futility that causes many to quit, ending their development before the threshold. Successful late bloomers make a specific shift. They stop asking why they are behind and focus strictly on what they can improve next. In youth, confidence is very often a product of naive optimism, the hope that things will simply work out. Mature confidence is evidence-based. It is the certainty that comes from a historical track record of surviving actual setbacks. By relying on a personal history of survival, the late bloomer becomes resilient to the external pressures of their environment. Eventually, the accumulation phase reaches limits. The massive foundation of experience finally aligns with the right external opportunity. The combination of pattern recognition and evidence-based confidence triggers a sharp upward shift in visible results. Because this growth is connected to decades of work, it is structurally sound. These structural pillars make the success resistant to the pressures and complexities of the new height. The speed of the ascent shocks outsiders, but for the late bloomer, this is the logical, calculated outcome of their preparation. An overnight success is simply the sudden, visible payload of an invisible psychological marathon. Human development functions as an ecosystem of continuous adaptation rather than a linear race toward a set deadline. This process forces us to rethink how we judge a person's current position in life. We have to stop measuring potential by the visible stagnation of the current chapter. Real potential is found by analyzing the invisible trajectory a person is currently preparing to launch.